on Sheaves on Amazon Music. Stop this feeling deep inside of me. Okay, am I live? Where's the song no lines? Why you do it to me? When you hold me in your arms so tight, girl, it's alright. Oh, that feeling, woo! I don't believe it. That God is love with me. Woo! That can be. Okay, Alexa. Thank you. Stop, Alexa. Alexa, stop. Stop, Alexa. Buenas tardes, mi gente. How's everyone doing? I just thought chime in really quick and share with you guys a personal anecdote and a very synchronized one. And why do I say that? Because I believe that the divine works is wonders and miracle. I gotta check this. I'm a one-woman show, so I'm not sure if I'm actually live on Facebook. I gotta do this to check. Am I there? Oh, there it is. I can see. All right. Good. You worked today. Excelente. Bravo. Everything is going great today. Well. So why did I wanted to share this personal anecdote? You see, 20-something years ago, I was a student in SUNY Albany. I was part of the program of public affairs and public policy, political science. And I have shared this in another talk that I did, that I went sort of as an audit because I grew up in Puerto Rico and coming from an island and a place where 3.5 million, the ones that are able to vote, are very passionate about engaged in their political process. And coming from that kind of surrounding to the United States mainland, so I needed to learn, right? And I shared this before, I don't want to repeat myself. But anyway, why am decided to share this personal anecdote with you guys? And it's a very personal story for me, and that one that caused me a lot of joy and also a lot of sadness recently. Because just recently, I think it was January 7, we lost an icon in this country of civil rights and social justice. And that was Professor Lenny Vanier. I'm sorry I can't pronounce her name right. But this lady right here, I have a very personal anecdote how I met her. When I was going to school 20-something years ago, I was in Albany, right? So I decided to take a drive to New England, I think a Western college. I can't even remember. I should have looked this before I talked to you guys, but who cares about the details? The important thing is the juice. So I went to a workshop in where Professor Vanier, she has a French last name, she was going to be offering a talk about civil rights and social justice. This was early on in the 2001 approximately. And I got hooked about her passion of what she believed about every single one person. Their voices needs to be heard, why they need to be seen. This is the government of we the people. And through her story, in her book, that she was appointed during the Clinton administrations to head like the Civil Rights Department or the Social Justice Department, I believe it was, and things didn't go too well for her there. She ended up not really leaving that position or not taking it for whatever reason. But the story is that when she was going through that process, just like how government works, the administration comes in, whatever administration, they elect their cabinet, they appoint their people to the key agencies, the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, all that kind of agency is usually managed by the chief in command, which is the president or say the governor, or say state, and of course for the nation is the president. Why am I sharing this? Because through her story, there was a brilliant educator and passionate advocate. And when she went through this process, she realized that it was not as she believed as it was, just like she studied in law school. Her story is very neat, just like every other American. Her parents were originally from Jamaica, but they lived in Panama. So they met there. And Lenny was born in the United States. So she has a beautiful, colorful background talking about the brown, the black people coming together. There's a good example. Miss Lenny Winier. And why this story is so personal to me? Because when I went to see her, my English, as you can tell, I have an accent. English is my second language. So sometimes, yeah, I do struggle. Depends. But when I'm in the flow, trust me, you will see when I'm in the flow, because the flow just take over. It doesn't matter accent, doesn't matter. It's going to communicate what it needs to convey. So while Lani was giving her lecture, she was throwing a lot of terminology that for me, they were a little challenging, because at the time, this was early 2000, there was no like we have today, check the cell phone, the iPhone, to do this crazy quick research. And a lot of the vocabulary, I will take it literally, right? In one of the moments, she was explaining something about a canary. And of course, me having and knowing and understanding of the Canary Islands, I raised my hands because I thought it was so fascinating. Like, Professor Venier, are you talking about the Canaries in the Canary Islands? Of course, at the time, I didn't know that the Canary Islands were called the Canary Islands, not for specifically for a canary. They were called the Canary Island because some dog that is called the canine something that is canary, something like that. You guys look it up. But that's where the Canary Islands get their name. It's not a dog. It has nothing to do with the bird. So when I realized that she explained to me how she was using that term of the canary, and she realized that I just didn't know. She took her time. She actually paused her lecture. And she called me up from and said, come here, please. And I went down. She asked me, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Puerto Rico. And then that's when she began telling her story that her parents were actually Jamaican and they have lived in Panama. It's also here in her book. But she's actually telling us this. And she was so compassionate because she understood that English as a second language for me, I was lost in the terminology that she was using and the kind of reference that she was using it for. So when she was talking about the canary, she was talking that the canaries, once upon a time, they were used by the miners. They'll be sent into the mine so they could detect any poisonous gas in order to save the miners' life. Because that's what they're doing. They're going in, they're excavating, they don't know the impending dangers, it can collapse, but they're also gases. So they will send the canary to check the mine. And that's how they will learn if it was safe to continue mining. And that even caused me even more confusion. So my next question was like, okay, thank you. And we were laughing because it was really fun. And I said, well, how does the canary relates to to social justice and civil rights? And that's when the lecture began. Basically, she went on to say that we are the canary. Why are we the canary? Because if we're not paying attention what the media is feeding us, that is filling the minds of the populace, of we the people, by the process of inception, of the political propaganda, the fear-mongering, those are strategies, scare tactics, to scare the populace so they can get a reaction. Because they know when people react in a certain way, they're not really thinking, especially they're coming from a place of fear. And more than ever, we the people, the American people, we need to be mindful of how we're listening to the propaganda that is being fed to us. It is our moral responsibility to ensure that when you're listening, you're actually listening to your heart resonance and not whatever fear that is being, by inception, being placed in your mind that is coming from greed. So they get the people, they using divisive speech. So they get them to react from a place of anger, being fear to the unknown. And that's what gets the political propaganda going. And very few people are really out there saying, well, I'm not interested in what the politician has to say. I really want to see his record. And of course, you might elect that official, whatever, and then you go on about your business. You forget that you have a responsibility, that you have to monitor that elected official, public record, to see how they're representing you in the issues that matter to you as a community of interest. And that's what I learned from the lecture that Professor Lanny Winier offered back in 2001. But what gets even more even fascinating, and this just happened today, that I have forgotten that she has actually signed this book for me. And because she spent so much time explaining to me the story of the canary, the miner's canary, okay? I just realized in one of the pages, I never saw this. I only saw the back. Look at what she wrote. That's her handwriting. That's Professor Lanier handwriting. And she basically wrote down the address of the minerscanary.org. And of course, I went to read the book, and I'm the one of the people that when I start reading the books, I don't care about the acknowledgement. To me, I want to get to the juice. So I flip the page. All this, I usually leave. Honestly, I want to get to the. No, I don't even. I want to go to the juice right away. So I did that. Right. It was just recently that I happened to flip the page, and look what I found inside. That she have left me a whole note there for me. And this is what he said. He said, Yvonne, a fellow canary washer, keep lifting your voice. Lanny Winier, April 3rd, 2001. And oh my God, I know this was no coincidence. As I have shared before, the divine works in synchronicities. Little miracles that are presented to you, that if you're really listening to the rhythms of your heart, you will be able to recognize that those are no coincidence. There's actually your divinity, that benevolent energy from the universe, God, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit. I always say, whatever you watch, I might call it, because we cannot impose on each other whatever belief, but that we all believe in the benevolent agent energy. Absolutely, we all come from that. And even if we don't want to believe it, we feel it. We feel it. We're hooked on that feeling, even if we don't know what that is. And I know you guys all get the gist, you get the drift of what I'm trying to say. So I took the time today because I wanted to honor this brilliant human being. And I got so sad because he just passed in January 7th. And I have held on to this book so dear. Everywhere I move, it's always in my book collections. And the fact that it sort of jumped out of my bookshelf that in my basement, I knew that this was the divine telling me, pick up that book. I didn't even know that she had died. It was just a few days ago that I Googled her because I wanted to know where she was today. Thought maybe to go pay the visit to continue the conversation so she can see what became of that girl that she saw in me. And she referred to me as a miner's canary. And I so humbly, I'm so honored. So anyway, I just learned that she passed away on January 7th. And I felt this was the only way that I could honor her legacy. No voice should be left behind. No human being should be left behind. We are the American people. We are the people, for the people, by the people. That was exactly what our founding father wanted, the future for this America, a new vision of social justice. We the people, for the people, by the people. Oh, how do we do that? And the only way we can get there is to learning to appreciate each other's differences and in them find the commonalities, to come from a place of being present, mindful, where your heart is rid of hate, of fear, that you can actually look at another human being, or regardless of what they look like or where they're from, what you need to be afraid of. We, the American people, we're tough people. Really? Are we that easily scared by illusions or illusion, really? Because you hear someone else saying the bad stuff that they're saying about other ethnic groups, or because they look different. Really? Are you that kind of American? I don't like to believe that, because I truly believe that when the founding fathers worked on the Declaration of Independence in the United States Constitution, they were not playing small. When I'm saying were not playing small, I mean, these people got cojones, mi gente. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I go there, but that's right. The founding fathers of America, they got cojones, because they got the cojones to say, we the people, for the people, by the people. You get it? They were not afraid. And they were coming from time that they were dealing with slavery, that they themselves were owners of slaves and that kind of stuff. And there they are, the divine using them as a vessel, as their alchemists, to write this beautiful document that so many countries around the world, they're either try to imitate it, and when they cannot imitate it, they don't want to, they just want to demolish it. Check out the stuff, the state of affairs, what's going on around the world, and how everybody is always looking to America. What is America up to? What is America going to do about it? Yeah, what we, the people, for the people, by the people, is doing about it. If you're not coming from a place that is free of hate, that is free of ignorance, that is free of fear to the unknown, then you're not doing your due diligence to be the American that the founding fathers wrote so beautifully, the Declaration of Independence. And I just wanted to take that moment, because every single one of us, and you and everyone, we have that responsibility, that moral responsibility. We all are the miner's canary. No one is going to come on harm from not being the canary. We all are the miner's canary, because all that fear mongering, all that scare tactics that our elected officials and the political propaganda and the media uses to instill the fear in people, to get them to react from a place of xenophobia and bigotry. That's what they're doing. That's the poisonous gas that is tainting and is eroding the moral fabric and the humane fabric of this country. So it's not up to, when we, the people, for the people, by the people, truly awaken to what it feels the right thing to do, not from your mind, because your mind is going to process all the fear that you're hearing in the news. I hate to say the news are not going to be too happy, but they're not really our friendly people. If you really want to be a good informed individual, you have to do your due diligent research and find which ones are the news outlets that are doing the best in keeping informing you in a way that is free of all that propaganda, where they're not feeding you inception. Through inception, mi gente, is there's one word that you need to learn in the English vocabulary, we the people, for the people, by the people, learn the meaning of the word inception. And then you'll understand what I'm trying to say. So if you really want to feel relaxed and have some purpose in your community of serving as a servant leader, get involved in your political process. Learn what your elected officials are doing, how they're representing you. When they're having their town meetings, where they're having whatever public hearing, show up. And just learn, just listen. You don't have to say anything. You can just sit there and watch. Oh, yeah. And sometimes it makes them nervous, believe it or not, when they start seeing people showing up, because they don't want people to be informed. So they only want you to be informed for the things that they want you to react to it, that it favors them, but very little for the collective. And there's a lot of elected officials there that are very good, that are kind-hearted, that they really have good intention to use their platform. However, when they go inside that house needs cleaning. Our White House needs a lot of cleaning. It's difficult to be a shining star or to be the new kid in the block and trying to work with establishment, as you can see that we see all the time in the news, that what we have today, that they go into lock mode, meaning they don't sit down and have a conversation because they themselves, with the media, they're disturbing the peace of the people by the political propaganda they feed them. And that, by the virtue of doing that, doesn't allow them to actually sit down and have conversations from a place of compassion, understanding, and being humane. And it is up to us with the American people to make sure that they're not only getting along, that they're doing the work of the people, because you are the parents. You got to go in there and say, hey, little Johnny, little Mary, and that doesn't look good. Let's all get along and it's doable. Mi gente, se puede hacer. Really. But it's up to you. You're the parent of your elected official, and you just send them to a school without being supervised. Can you imagine? Just when you send your freshman to college, goodbye, see you later. No, you're paying the bill. Keep an eye on what they're doing, right? So the same with the politicians. So you give them their vote. Great, you candidate won, or even the one that you supported didn't win. What you're supposed to do next? Will become literacy in reading and checking the public record. Because one thing America is good, that we Americans love is paper, and everything is in paper, and everything is on record. So if you put it on paper and you put it part of the record, and they do, right? Like when they are talking about issues, blah, 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 then go check that public record. Nowadays, it's so easy to be mindfully, civically engaged more than ever because we have the resources to our fingertips and our thumb. All we have to do is just go online, check your county, your city, and so forth. And you just check all that and see what decisions are they making for you. And from there, then you exercise your right to say, I'm knocking at your door because I see you're saying yes, you're saying no, you're saying yes, you're saying no to this. And that's the stuff that you said that has nothing to do with what your platform or what you say you were going to do or what you're doing. So don't listen to TV. If you're listening to media, okay, to feed you what your elected officials are doing, you are doing it about the wrong way. So sorry to burst your bubble. No, bad. You can't do that, mi gente. You got to go do it yourself. Keep an eye on the public record. Supervise your elected officials and see how are they doing to make your community a better place to live, where everybody is heard, everybody is seen. And that way you are doing your job as an advocate. And remember, if you're someone that believes, that comes from a place of faith, that believe in God, in the Holy Spirit, in Jesus Christ, right? Christ consciousness, all that good stuff. Hello. To say this, what I gotta say. Did you know that the greatest advocate of mankind was Jesus Christ? And he continues to be. That energy continues to tap into every single human being in their head, trying to get into their hearts. However, whatever is our life story, whatever our pain and suffering is, that's what gets in the way to listen, not only to your divine guidance, or to be alert enough to recognize all the synchronicities, all the miracles that are happening around you, which are not, and read and receive the message. So I just wanted to share that today, only because, wow, I am still mourning the news of Professor Lenny Veneer passing. And I felt that I needed to honor that every American should have the right to feel that they can lift their voice. And even the ones that don't agree, we all can get together and do it from a place of compassion, understanding. Even when we have to disagree, not to agree. But media is not the place to listen for your public agenda. Your public policy and public affair is not in the media. Your job as an American citizen, as an American that is involved in the process of electing the representative, it is your job to monitor and supervise your elected official. So if you don't, what are you doing? You're allowing the media, who are very powerful, mogul. And remember, there's a marriage in convenience. Media and politics is a marriage of convenience. So it is up to you, the people, for you to supervise, hold your elected officials accountable, and learn how that's done. Like, for example, when I used to live in Albany, I had the luxury that I could walk to the legislature. And early on, thanks for Father Peter Young and Sister Antonelli for Catholic Charities and Bishop Howard. I'm sure all those people are right now, but those were my mentors. And as young as a 25-year-old girl, they would send me to the legislature. And half of the time, I didn't know what I was doing. And I understood now. Today, I understood what they were doing. They were exposing me to the lay of the land, learn the legislative process, see how they make decisions. Learn. Yeah, because they were grooming me to be an advocate, unbeknown to me. And that's a story that you guys get to learn about it. In Today Inspire Latina, Volume 5, I talk a little bit about how I became that accidental advocate. And today, in so many ways, I continue to be. And I just wanted to share that. And really quick, these are the books that if this is Inception that I'm talking about, right, mi gente? Look at where it's coming from. This is one of the first book in public policy and affairs from SUNY Rockefeller College, from John Kinjan. Professor Robert Nakamura, who was one of my professors in SUNY Albany, he used to say, that's the Bible. And I still have the Bible, Prophet Nakamura. If you see this show, 21 years later, I still use it, John Kilo. It's probably a newer edition. This is second edition. This is another book that I recommend every American to have. If you want to learn how policies and public affairs are handled in government and legislation and bills that you want to introduce are handled, this is the book to read. This one. I also have another one that is really good that is called Accidental Justice. It's another one. I'm just showing you all my books from college, believe it or not, from my master's, and they're still good today. All right. So having said all that and shared all that, I'm going to say goodbye. And I hope that with this little personal anecdote that I share with you guys about Professor Lani Veneer, go be the canary. You are the canary, mi gente. We the people, for the people, by the people. We are the canary. So let's demand from our governments no more poisonous gases. No more poisonous gases that are eroding the moral and the humane fabric of this country. We don't need that. We the people, for the people. We're people with heart. So, mi gente, con eso lo dejo. I hope you guys are enjoying, and with your children, come up with activities to honor African American History Month. Honor their contributions and celebrate, because they're also part of our nation. So having said all that, thank you. Have a great day. See you guys soon. And thank you for listening and stopping by. Go check out her book. Okay, I'm going to put in here really quick. I forgot. Like I said, I'm a one-woman show, and I do this out of my kitchen, as you can tell. Let's see if I can show what I wanted to show about her banners. The Miner's Canary. And there it is, Lani Veneer. May she rest in peace. I know her energy is already recycled, and she's probably coming back. some baby already, because that's how the divine works. That's how the divine rolls. There's no stopping that stream of consciousness. It's going to continue to show up until mankind does what is the right thing to do, which is to care for one another, be compassionate, be kind, be gentle, be noble, be a servant leader. Having said that, namaste. Thank you.